You're watching Monday with Mayor here on 18 WJTS, and today we are in Ferdinand talking with Town Manager Chris James. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to Ferdinand.
And I understand Chris Kinmart got canceled because of COVID-19 concerns.
It did. The tourism group, the Chris Kinmart folks, they have been spending weeks, probably months, trying to find a way forward to be able to have this event. Every which avenue they went, they would get so far, and then they would run into a block that they just couldn't get around. So they would go and try a plan B and then a plan C, trying to figure out how can they make it work. In the end of the day, they just could not find a workable path. And much as a lot of the events like the Strassenfest, which I think has been going on for 40 years and then got called off. Folk Festival, we've made it 10 straight years, outdoor activity, and had to call off. And the Chris Kinmart, the same thing. They wanted to do it, and depending on what doctor you're talking to or listening to, by that time of year, the virus could be really bad again. It may not. Right now, no one really knows, but with so many of the participants in the Chris Kinmart, the vendors and everyone, a lot of those folks are in that age at-risk category, so you don't want to take a chance on that. And we have literally thousands of people come into Ferdinand that weekend. Social distancing, although it's a nice thing, with that big of a crowd, you can't keep that 6 feet of distance from you to me and from me to the next person in any of the lines, whether it's at one of the food booths or at one of the actual arts and crafts booths, one of the vendor locations. And also, a lot of the activity goes on in school facilities. The Forest Park High School, the alternate gym area, the cafeteria, that's used. Ferdinand Elementary Gymnasium is used. Right now, the school could say, yes, you may use these facilities. Something may come up later this fall where the school would have to say, we're going to have to pull back our permission. And at that point in time, there is no other site in Ferdinand that can take on that much people. Literally any facility that big is already in use. And so that would have really forced them into either having a very reduced Chris Kinmart or having to make a call late in the fall to cancel, possibly after some of the groups have made their food orders and other activities. So they decided to go ahead and call it off now, and they'll start the planning process for 2021 and have this 1 year blip, which many events are having, and then go forward starting next year.
But one thing in town has not been canceled is walking around Old Town Lake.
Yes, it seems like that's been a monthly ask of you. Where are we at with the lake? And I would always kind of have to keep you at arm's length because they were still working on this, still working on that. Finally got the word late last week. On Friday, the trail opened, and we had a lot of I guess you could say before the scenes users of the trail. That is what it is. But come Friday of last week, it was officially opened. It's roughly a mile in duration. Several benches are set up, donated benches at various spots along the trail. Roughly 2/3 of the way around, there's a rest area, there's a picnic table set up. So whether you actually want to picnic or just that's a place to sit and catch your breath and enjoy the scenery of the lake, you can do that as well. But we've had a lot of folks already go through it, numerous comments on social media, loved it, whether they took a run or just a walk. My family, we actually went around it Saturday evening, the 4th of July evening, as the sun was setting, and it was some just fantastic views going around as the sun set. I have a strong sneaking suspicion that there will be sections of that trail heavily used by photographers, whether it's for an engagement photo, senior photos, that types of things. And as the terrain kind of grows in, we still have some touch-up work in areas just to kind of clean things up. But It's already been used considerably. The last, I guess, roadblock to it, a section of the paved path over the dam was inadvertently damaged as some of the equipment was being taken out, so they had to get back in and repave a section of it. So as you come around the home stretch, as it were, the second long footbridge along the dam, you'll see the difference in the pavement. The one area is darker than the other just because it's newer blacktopping. And that was really the last big thing they wanted to get done. Had it not been damaged, it probably would have been opened a little sooner in the month. But it fell perfectly, in a sense, over the 4th of July holiday. With the long weekend, folks have been able to get out and enjoy it. Saw an individual out on a kayak, several fisher people at various locations around the lake, and we expect that to be used considerably for that as well, along with the actual trail usage. And I know this, what is done now is technically phase 1, and the park board is already coming up with ways to raise the dollars for phase 2. And some of those things include a fishing pier, a kayak boat launch, if that makes sense. Going to eventually pave the entire trail. Right now, it is predominantly crushed gravel with a couple of sections of pavement. It will eventually become all blacktopped, and looking forward to some of those changes as they come about. Construction of a restroom facility is on the drawing board. We've got the utilities out there. It's just a matter of building a building on top of them to utilize them. So they can pat themselves on the back, deservedly so, for a job very well done. And now they're already starting forward with getting prepped for the next phase, and look forward to keeping folks in tune as to what's going on with that next phase. Okay, we're going to be doing this next, or this is next, and just continuing to grow and expand it out, and turn it even into a more of a third park in Ferdinand.
Well, thanks for joining us today. That's awesome.
Thanks for coming, and enjoy the trail as you head out of town.
You've been watching Monday with the Mayor here on 18 WJTS, and today we have been in Ferdinand talking with Town Manager Chris James. Thanks for tuning in. This is 18 WJTS, local people watching local people.